Welcome to another Instagram Live. I wanted to just do another brief video to talk about a specific point, how we focus on only the things that we're looking for in certain situations in a lot of areas of our life. So take, for example, with social media, when we have OCD, we're always looking at other people think, God, they haven't got OCD. Oh, they're not as bad as me. Oh, they must have a perfect life. This must be perfect, and so on. But we don't look at all the other areas that make up the journey, okay? So let's take, for example, let's just work out how to flip my camera here. Marilyn Monroe. Why am I focusing on this? Well, because Marilyn Monroe died from an overdose. But when we think of Marilyn Monroe, people usually look at the glitz, the glamour, all the sort of magical, amazing part of the life, but then not focusing on the sadness, the divorces, the depression, the overdose, all these other parts they don't focus on, because we focus on the things that we are looking at. So with Instagram, we are looking at obviously all the things that people are doing and they look happy and so on, but it is very easy to make it look like you're not struggling, especially with OCD. There's countless people, including myself in the past, where you wouldn't have had a clue how bad I was, because someone's not going to tell you, by the way, I suffer from POCD, it's a living hell and I feel horrendous. They're not going to bring that up in conversation. So usually, so you're not seeing that. And that is a really key point, because OCD sufferers can talk a great talk and look like they haven't got a care in the world. Or they may be sort of with that glazed look on their face where it's like they're looking through a misted sheet of glass, where they're sort of looking down, they're not really there, giving very short answers, where you can tell something's not right. They're sort of locked up in their mind. But that is not always the case. Often you can't tell. Often what you're seeing is somebody who looks healthy, happy, fit, everything going on. And you see that all the time. You hear stories of people that were like in the newspaper, you'll often read of a suicide and someone's passed away and everyone says, but I didn't even know they had a problem at all. So that is a key point. People, you can't always tell, obviously, how bad they are feeling. The other thing is the people on the street that you think have all got their shit together, you don't know them. If you knew all those people, knew their stories, there is no normal people. The only normal people are the people we don't know. So when we see someone on the street, we think that's normal. That's because you don't know them. And it's the same as dates. If you go on a date and you think, oh, this is just a normal person, whatever. No, you don't know them. They've got all kinds of stuff that you don't know about. The same as everyone. And that is such a key point. Because otherwise, you're putting everyone on a pedestal and putting yourself on the floor. And that problem is going to leave you stuck, and it's going to leave you looking up at everything. That's not reality. It's not reality. I work day in, day out hearing people's problems from all over the world all day long, every day. And I can tell you, I know I'm working selectively with people with OCD and anxiety and so on, but you wouldn't tell. You wouldn't know about their problems, and you always think someone else, everything's fine. Even the people that don't suffer from mental health, they've got other problems. And even when you recover, you think it's going to be all rosy and life's going to be perfect. It ain't, because there's another problem that jumps to the top of the list. Another problem comes up, and you think, oh, now I've got a problem with my career, or a problem with my relationship, or a problem with something. Your focus will turn to something because you're human, and the human brain is always looking for the next challenge or the next thing, because that's how through evolution we've moved and survived and gone to the next thing and the next better thing, and that's what we're always pushing for. And that is also the problem, because it's not so easy to stay comfortable with just being in the now, and we always want to keep going and keep thinking, keep focusing on other things. And we need to remember that, because a lot of the things that we're looking at and a lot of the things that we're focusing on, we're only focusing on those select things. We're not focusing on the whole picture. If we look at, say, an entrepreneur or someone who's been very successful, we don't focus on that struggle, which a lot of people would really not want to live that life that they had, and they doesn't focus on that. Or the same with an athlete, all that training, all those training camps. You don't see that. You only see the top of it. Or the same with Or the same with so many areas of life in any particular field. It doesn't have to be at something where someone's trying to strive to be the best in something. It can be just a life which it follows a path of the sort of more of the average, and that will still not be what you think it is. You're not seeing the struggle that they're having in their family life. You're not seeing the struggle they're having with their career. You're not seeing the struggle they're having with their friends and relationships around them, because we are only seeing what they want us to see when it's social media, and you're only seeing what you're zooming in on. Even when you're just looking at something, say you're sitting in a restaurant, you're with a friend, your view of that restaurant is very different to their view. Your experience is completely different because you don't have their brain. So although we think it's the same, it isn't. Everything is different based on many perspectives that are all interplaying all at the same time. So we have to zoom out a bit and we have to think, hold on, let's have a look at our situation. Should we come down this hard on ourselves? Well, absolutely not when we're learning to come from a compassionate position, but from the position that even when we are coming down hard on ourselves, thinking, well, hold on, let's look at all the other things that are going well. Let's think of all the other good things that we've done. Because that is what is usually missed in all areas of life. We're upping the other and downing ourselves. And that's key. So we've got to try and look at the bigger pictures with these things. And that's a key part of learning acceptance, compassion, and having a more rational approach to life, so that we're not getting ourselves into a sort of chronic cycle of despair, anxiety, guilt, whichever one of those uncomfortable emotions we're getting ourselves into by fixating on one part and then downing the whole of ourselves, which is the key message from unconditional self-acceptance. Not taking one part and downing the whole human, or not taking one part and upping the whole human. The best athlete in the world is not superhuman. They are just somebody who's got one skill that we are then upping the whole human for. The same as somebody who has done something really wrong and we disagree with, that doesn't write off the whole human or down the whole human. Key points from the book by Albert Ellis, How to Stubbornly Refuse to Make Yourself Miserable About Anything, and the other book on our reading list, The Myth of Self-Esteem. Check those out. Guys, great to see you back on here to lives covering all these different questions. I'll be covering the questions tomorrow in the Q&A that we'll be doing. So if you want to ask any questions on that, come onto that live, and I will be going through lots of your questions. And there will also be moderators' questions on Instagram stories, where one of the moderators will be answering all your questions, and we're going to be going through different moderators covering your questions and talking about their OCD recovery journey. Guys, great to see you. I will see you back on here tomorrow. Take it easy.